Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is designed by Elwin and Men. There are about 5 artists attributed to this game, so go ahead and check that out on Board Game Geek. And it is published by CGE.
As a kid, I loved Indiana Jones. All his adventures he would go on in these jungles, kind of always finding these lost artifacts and those kinds of things. This game brings you into an Indiana Jones-like world. You are exploring, you are finding these artifacts, you are kind of going up on this temple track, trying to get the most victory points. Let me show you how it works on the table. Alright, here's our starting setup for the Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is a huge board here we've got. Basically, the entire bottom section of the board here is all of our resources and kind of our supply that we'll be needing throughout the game. We can actually just separate that, put it off to the side for now, and we'll talk about it more later. We've also got every player having their own player board. On it, we'll kind of go over what that all means later. This is a deck building game, and so you have a small starting deck of cards. If there's 6 cards here, you're going to use 5 cards at a time. You've got things like fear, which fear is generally bad. It's got negative victory points in the bottom corner here. However, it does provide some boots, which I'll explain what that means later. There's also cars, boats, and even airplanes. These lightning bolt symbols are going to give you some resources. All of the things the decks can do. Again, we'll go over all that in just a little bit. Right now I'm going to focus on the main board and kind of explain what that's all about. On your turn, you are going to do one action. And there are a lot of different things that an action can be. However, basically you're going to just do one of them per turn. It's going to kind of go around the circle or around the table really quickly, taking one action at a time. So one action can be paying a boot, like we talked about, to go down to the bottom section of the board here to gather some resources. This whole little bottom area is all about gathering resources. And obviously, as you can kind of tell, the board is oriented. This is the bottom, this is the top. I turned it sideways so you can kind of see everything a little better on the camera. You could pay one of those boot symbols that's on one of those cards there in order to move there. However, cars and boats can also act as if they are boots. But there are some spots on the board that can only be gotten to by boats or by cars. Now you also have airplanes. Airplanes can act as either a car or a boat. Any one of the 3 of those can act as a boot. And if you ever don't have a car that you need to use, you can always pay 2 gold in order to hire a pilot, which counts as an airplane, which again can count as any of the rest of those symbols as well. So that's kind of how you're going to move around on the board. So again, placing an architect on the board is going to be an action. If I went there, for instance, I'd have to just pay a boat, or again, I could pay an airplane if I wanted. I would take this little token, I would place it on my board, getting a benefit from it. But then also, I'm going to get one of the tiles that matches that location. This is a level 1 spot, so I'm going to get some level 1 benefits. That particular one says draw a card, grab a coin, and grab a tablet. However, the first time someone goes to one of those spots and places one of those tiles, a guardian is actually going to come out. And a guardian is basically a monster that's going to protect the land. This one says in order to fight it off, you need to pay an arrowhead and you need to play an airplane symbol. If you're able to fight it off, first of all, you're going to get an immediate benefit of being able to trash a card. Also, at the end of the game, you're going to get 5 victory points. So you place that on top of there. If for some reason you are unable to get rid of that monster and your guy is still there at the end of the game, or at the end of the round with a guardian there, you're going to have to take one of those fear cards and add it into your deck. These bottom 2 rows of tiles there, those are all going to take 3 of the compasses. This very top row, you have to pay 6 of the compasses. However, you get 2 of the tokens, first of all. 1 face up, 1 face down. You get the medium benefit of the 1, but they both get to go onto your board, which I'll explain why that's important a little bit later on. But then also, you're going to get a level 2 style of these tiles, which this one's great. This one gives you 2 compasses and one of those red gems. It would go up there. This particular one costs 2 of the boat symbols, so you need more transportation to get to these very top rows of locations. But again, as always, the first time you go there, you're going to have to fight off a guardian. In subsequent rounds, after someone's fought off the guardian, someone else can go there, paying, of course, the compasses and the transportation, and then they can just take the benefits that are on the tile itself. All of those things are actions, whether it is getting resources, whether it is going to one of these locations, or whether it's fighting off a guardian. You can also buy a card as an action. So the cards on the left of that staff there, that staff kind of acts as our round marker. The cards to the left of it are blue cards. Those are artifacts. You can use those or buy those using compasses. When you buy them, they immediately trigger. You can do whatever they say immediately. This particular one says you can draw a card, and you're going to get a coin as well. It costs 4 of the compasses, and it's worth 3 victory points at the end of the game. Now, after you use it, it goes in your discard pile, and then when you shuffle your deck at the end of your turn, and you draw it, from here on out, whenever you use it, you need to pay one of those tablets in order to use those blue cards. The first time's free, and it's immediate, but from here on out, it's going to cost you a tablet in order to trigger that effect. All the cards that you can buy from up here all give you some transportation symbols as well. This particular one gives us an airplane, which again is the best one, so that's great. So, alright, so now we have these cards over here. These are all item cards. Item cards you can gain by paying money, paying the gold coins. Now what happens with those is you do not get to trigger them immediately. However, you get to add them to the bottom of your deck. What that means is you're going to be drawing them sooner. This particular one, it costs 4 gold coins. You get to draw a card, you get a coin, and you get a compass. It's worth 1 victory point at the end of the game. It's going to give you 2 of those car symbols, which is great. And again, when you buy it, the item cards, they go on the bottom of your deck, so that when you draw cards, it's one of the first things you're going to draw probably. There are going to be other effects that let you trash cards. So over the course of the game, you might try to trash some of your cards, especially your fear cards, and buy additional stronger cards into your deck, so that way every time you go through your deck, you're getting better and better results. Alright, well, another action you can do is you can go up on this track over here. There's this whole big track thing going on, and you have 2 things that can go up on the track. You have a magnifying glass, and you also have like a little journal here. So this always has to be ahead of this on the track. They can be equal. Let's say you have this one going first. This kind of one can go alongside it, be next to it, but it can never go above it. So turning it sideways like this, you can pay resources to go up here. You can pay resources to go up here. You can even pay resources to go next to it. But you can never have a situation where this goes above the magnifying glass. It always needs to be at or above it. I'm going to zoom in on this part of the board a little bit more because this is pretty important, and it's a little bit more hard to see from far away. Alright, so in order to advance on the track, you need to pay the resources. For instance, going from here to here, you have to pay 2 of the tablets and an arrowhead. If you went there, the first person there, first of all, might get a little one-time bonus, which is nice. This one gives us a tablet. Also, matching the shape along the side here, you're going to get some benefits as well. This one says when our magnifying glass gets there, we're going to get a little compass, which is great. Also, it's 4 victory points. Alright, so if this ever advances, we have to pay those resources to get it up there. A tablet and an arrowhead in this case. Again, a one-time benefit. But now we're going to gain something called an assistant. Assistants are tiles that are going to help us break some rules. This lets us draw a card, maybe discard a card. And they can be upgraded, in fact. Later on, when you upgrade it, it turns to the gold side. Now it's just draw a card. This one says gain 2 coins. And when you upgrade it, it becomes draw 3 coins. And you can kind of see down below what it can become once you upgrade it. You can choose basically from the top of the stacks. There's some really good things out there. And when you move up on this side of the board anyways, when you move up that diary, you're going to be able to get some of those guys. When you see that little gold spot on the board down there, that means when you move your diary up to that part, that's what allows you to turn it from a silver side to the gold side of your assistants. And that's going to also refresh them. You can only use them once per turn. You basically rotate them 90 degrees sideways to show that they've been used. When you upgrade them, you automatically get to refresh them so they're back up right side up again. Then you can use them again, and then at the end of the round they refresh back up to normal so you can use them again the next round. The higher up you go on that track, the more victory points you're going to get, the more benefits you're going to get, and the stronger they're going to be. Once you get to the very, very top of the track, we have this little area over here that basically says it's kind of a race. The first one to get your magnifying glass up there is going to get 23 points, and then from there on out it kind of goes down a little bit. There's some face down tokens that are going to be, again, first come, first serve. Now the track itself is worth a ton of points if you can kind of use it well, but also we have these temple tiles over here as well. We have these different kind of resource tracks over here, and it's showing, if I want this tile, I need to pay a compass and an arrowhead. If I want this tile, I need to pay a red gem. Now the tiles above it are accumulation of the 2. If I pay a red gem, a compass, and a arrowhead, I can take this tile instead, which is even better. And if I'm able to pay all 3 stacks of resources, I'm going to get the 11-point token, which is fantastic. At the end of each round, we're going to do a little bit of a refreshing. So we have our cards here. Basically what's going to happen is our staff is going to move down. We're going to get rid of the cards that are on either side of it. And we're going to refill. The blue artifact cards go to the left. The brown item cards go to the right. Again, that's our round tracker. The game ends after the 5th and final round is over. A round ends every time every single player has run out of things to do, run out of actions to do, and they pass. Once that happens, the round is over. Again, at the end of the 5th and final round, whoever has the most victory points wins. let me go back and kind of show you the player board and how that works. So on our main playing board, that's where we're going to put our assistants. You can see that right there, and then it's where you can tap them, rotate them in order to take their abilities. Also, we have our storage area where we've placed all of our different tokens that we've grabbed. You can see we have these spots on the board labeled 1 through 4 victory points, and currently they have a lightning bolt on them. We also have all these different resources on them, on the side of the board there. Our tokens are worth 3 victory points apiece, and all the things that are uncovered are also going to give us victory points. But let's say we're in a situation where we really, really need some tablets, let's say. What you can do is you can, for free, not using an action, you can move one of your 3 victory point tokens up there, covering up some victory points possibly, and takes one of these actions over here. So we can take the 2 tablets, or we could take an arrowhead, or we could draw a card, whatever the case is. But we've lost a victory point by covering that up. And it gets worse and worse and worse. So now, if we were to do it again, we'd be covering up a 2 victory point spot in order to get one of those benefits. But maybe that's what you really need in order to go up on the track, which again is worth a ton of victory points. We also have our deck here. Remember that the item cards that we bought are going to go on the bottom of our deck. The blue artifact cards, those are going to get used as soon as we buy them, and then go into our discard pile.
The components to this are amazing. They have those like little gems and those
arrowheads
and the tablets, and they're all really good, fun little chits that you have when you're playing with the game. And then the artwork is really phenomenal, just on the board, and then the different like monsters that you're facing when you're traveling through this. It was just very captivating, and it was very well done.
I like how there's multiple paths to victory in this game. There's a lot of different kind of point revenue sources, and all of them were viable. I mean, you couldn't really, in fact, ignore any of them. If you did, you were missing out on opportunities. There's a temple track, there was monsters you could fight, there was resources you could grab. Everywhere you went, there was something to do. It all felt very balanced as well. You know, 2 people could have very, very, very different strategies and have the exact same score, which it just happened recently. Our most recent play, we tied, and we had to go down under the tiebreaker, which was hilarious.
Yeah. I got that, in case you're wondering. I got the tiebreaker. I won, just so you all know.
Sad Ryan.
I thought that this game was the perfect length, the perfect amount of time. I think the box says about a half hour per player, and I would say that's accurate. So I feel like when we're playing this game, I get this full, crunchy feeling game in a shorter amount of time. And I just absolutely love that. I love that when Ryan and I played this game, when it's just the 2 of us, that it takes a little under an hour to play, set up and everything. And I just think that's like phenomenal, because I feel like you get so much game worth out of that hour or half hour per player. And so that's phenomenal for me.
And speaking of game worth and game value, this board has 2 different sides. There's the original side, and there's kind of the altered variant side. And oh my gosh, even though everything kind of feels familiar, feels similar, there's all the same kinds of things out there, you can't approach them the same way, which made it so that you had 2 different mindsets and 2 different strategies going into them, which I thought was great. You know, it gave you that much more replayability. Everything that you did was, again, familiar. It was the same kinds of actions. It was just different ways to pay for them, or different costs and different things like that. So I love that they gave you this extra additional layer of complexity to for those who want it.
But here's the real question, everybody. This game has been talked about a lot, so people want to know, does it have staying power, right?
Right.
It's a great game. We love talking about it. We love playing it. But will people still talk about it in years to come? And I say yes. I feel like this game definitely has staying power. I feel like people will be talking about it forever, especially since that expansion, just that Leaders expansion just came out. I feel like that this is a game, I personally think that this is a game that people will be talking about for years to come, and it definitely has staying power.
I agree. This is certainly for us. This is going to be a game that stays in our collection. I can't recommend it highly enough. I mean, you've always got something to do. You're never just like left out in the wind to not do anything. You can always buy a card. You can always gather resources. You can always go up on the temple track. Those kinds of things. There's risk and reward, and the balance of those just plays out really nicely in this game. And honestly, the next time we do a complete ranking of this game, our collection, keep an eye out for this, because there's a good chance it's going to make a high appearance, because we both really, really dig it.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us on Facebook, we're Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we're Ryan Bethany 1. On Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany. And on TikTok, we are Ryan and Bethany.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.